In August of 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast of the United States. It killed over 1,800 people and caused $125 billion in damages. 2 years earlier, I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. What was what was different about Katrina from instances before and after?
This one was a lot stronger, did a lot more damage, covered a lot more area, um, and was a lot more destructive. The city never flooded like that, like it did before, and 80% of the city flooded.
When the hurricane started, how did you and the general public react to it?
There wasn't really any warning about the Hurricane Katrina because I worked on Friday and there was no talk about it, there was no preparation, there was nobody being on call. We had planned to stay in our house and the neighbors had a 2-story home, but when we found out they were evacuating, that's like, well, I guess we ought to evacuate because there's no higher ground to go to. I think, a lot of the population did evacuate, but there was a lot of people who stayed because they didn't want to leave their home unprotected, or they didn't believe it, or they simply didn't have the money to leave town, the transportation.
What was it like adjusting back to normal once it was over?
Well, it took a while. Everything we owned, except the 2 cars we were driving, flooded. We had 6 foot of water in the house. Everything, toys and furniture, and the whole interior of the house was removed. Eventually, the house was sold because we decided not to rebuild and moved to Cleveland.
What was it like adjusting back to normal life once it was over?
After Katrina, there was no adjusting back to the normal life because the house had gotten flooded, had damaged, it had mold. So we had to move out and go to a rental house in Mandeville, and it took me probably a year and a half to decide what to do with the house, and it got sold. So things were literally turned upside down, and you had to recreate your new life in a new home.